The NCAA has determined their sanctions for Michigan football. They determined the Wolverines committed violations during the COVID recruiting process. One of the statements from the NCAA reads as such: Michigan and 5 individuals who currently or previously worked for its football program have reached an agreement with NCAA enforcement staff on recruiting violations and coaching activities by non-coaching staff members that occurred within the football program and the appropriate penalties for those violations. A committee on infractions panel has approved the agreement. One former coach did not participate in the agreement, and that portion of the case will be considered separately by the Committee on Infractions, after which the committee will release its full decision. The agreed upon penalties in this case include 3 years of probation for the school, a fine, and recruiting restrictions in alignment with the Level 1 mitigated classification for the school. The participating individuals also agreed to 1 year show cause. That from the NCAA. Speaking of Michigan, we do have a full slate of spring football games on the Big Ten Network this weekend. Starting with the Hoosiers on Thursday at 8 Eastern, which can be seen on Big Ten Network. Illinois and Michigan State, it can also be seen right here at 2 and 4 Eastern on Saturday. We'll have full coverage of future Big Ten members USC's spring game, and Michigan will play at 2 Eastern Saturday over on Fox. Well, let's get to the conversation on the field, Jake Butt. Let's start with the Michigan Wolverines. Sharon Moore gets the first opportunity that he's had with the big whistle to be the head coach, to lead the Wolverines onto the field in spring football action. What do you see as a big question that Michigan has to answer as they take the field here?
Everybody's going to talk about the quarterback, and rightfully so. J.J. McCarthy is going to be the first offensive skill position from Michigan to go in the first round since Braylon Edwards. Think about that, right? I think about all the guys that have came through, how talented J.J. was, and they're replacing him. So is it Alex Orji? I look at the headlines, and they always say he's athletic, he can run the ball. I want the headlines to say smart, throws the ball, gets it out there. And some guys have given credit. I want to see that on Saturday. Is it Denegal, more of a pocket passer? I know Davis Warren has done some nice things. He's a phenomenal story. Jack Tuttle is not playing. He's a guy that's working back. So it just gives us a chance to see who the quarterback is. But besides that, there's questions at the wide receiver room where Tyler Morris seems like wide receiver 1. We saw Samaj Morgan last year. What about behind him? Where's the depth? So that's going to factor in is how those quarterbacks look with new wide receivers as well. I know that what the defense is going to be. So when they split the teams apart, it's hard for Michigan's one offense to go against that one defense right now with all the new pieces and how talented they are. But what does it look like in more of a competitive, structured spring game where you break up some of that talent? We're all going to be talking about the quarterback. We will see how the skill positions look as well.
There was such an incredible core in place that led Michigan to the 3 Big Ten titles and the national championship. Now a lot of that core is gone, and the head coach, of course, gone to the NFL. So there's a lot of curiosity about what the Wolverines look like. Certainly some curiosity in Champaign-Urbana as well. Brett Bielema and the Illini, they'll be on the spring football field this Saturday. Got both coordinators back, and Barry Leddy Jr., Aaron Henry running the defense for the second season there. What do you think stands out about the Illini?
Got your quarterback back to go with your coordinators. That's great, but they're replacing a ton at the skill position. So Reggie Love transferred to Purdue. Isaiah Williams is going to the NFL. Casey Washington's going to the NFL. And then you lose 2 key pieces on the offensive line in Julian Pearl and Isaiah Adams, both NFL prospects. And you sit here and you say that, Brett Bielema wins games by playing good defense and being able to run the football. So it's going to be we'll be keeping our eyes on who are those surrounding pieces and how do they look outside of the quarterback.
And with that in mind for the Illini, because the quarterback position is not the question, we do know that the offensive and defensive front for the Illini is a very big deal every time Brett Bielema coaches a team. The line of scrimmage, can you prove a lot in spring football with that?
It depends on the structure. If it's ones versus ones, then we can start to say, okay, one guy's dominant and one's not. But again, with spring ball, if one unit is too dominant, then you might have concerns for the other unit. But you're exactly right. Certain teams have identity. I believe that matters. And Brett Bielema, his specialty has been having quality trench play. He's developed, going all the way back throughout his coach career. He's recruited and developed quality offensive and defensive linemen. He's going to have to do it again this year.
Well, questions in East Lansing because you've got a first-year head coach there in Jonathan Smith, who's had so much success as a head coach at Oregon State, as a coordinator going back before that as well after his playing career at Oregon State. So in East Lansing, when the roster has some turnover to it there, so what do you think the Michigan State Spartans will look like on Saturday?
What I hope to see is identity and fire. When I always knew when we played Michigan State back in the day, I better get ready to play. No yawning that morning. You get ready, because under D'Antonio, they were physical, they were mean, they were fierce and had fight up front. They had a clear identity. When Mel Tucker had success with Kenneth Walker, it was a clear identity. Yeah. These past few years, I can't say what their identity was. So what you would hope with a new coaching staff, a new quarterback, is we'll get a chance to see on display what the identity of Michigan State will be.
Same question then for the Hoosiers, where Curt Cignetti, we're wondering about that identity, maybe a little bit of transition in how they operate in Bloomington.
I'm excited to see him. I mean, he's got that fire, that competitiveness. I'd expect that to transfer over to the roster, and I loved your interview with him because he said, we're going to put one offense versus one defense, and hey, everyone's got our film anyways, so we're going to show 85% of what we do anyways. We're going to see a real football game, and he's just a polarizing guy, man. He brings such great energy. I'm excited to see the Hoosiers take the field.
I think a lot of Big Ten fans excited about the opportunity to watch USC. Lincoln Riley, one of the new members in the Big Ten here, also having coordinators. We know Lincoln calls the offense, but Josh Henson on offense, Danton Lynn on defense. New acquisition they made on that side of the ball, but a lot of turnover for the Trojans roster.
I said, can they do it again? Can Lincoln Riley take Miller Moss and make him a Heisman candidate one again? Everywhere he's been, the quarterback.
Right.
So I believe that'll be true. The defense was the issue, and Danton Lynn comes over from UCLA, where the defense he inherited at UCLA, they were 87th in the nation. They were 11th when he left. Significant improvement. Even more so, we talk about the former Pac-12 teams joining the Big Ten. Hey, are they physical? They were the #1 rushing defense in college football last year. So he knows how to coach football. I'm excited to see the defense. If you turned on the tape last year, was not even average at times. Seriously. If they can get a quality defense to match what will be a Lincoln Riley-led offense, this team is extremely dangerous.
It's one of those situations where new personnel, probably not all bad for the Trojans, because you do want to make sure you're enhancing what they do on both sides of the football. There was that quarterback that Jake kind of made reference to, who's going to be the top pick in this coming draft. We will talk some NFL draft. Jake will stay right here with me as we prepare to do that next on Big Ten Today.